In this section, we're going to discuss the switch statement. Java provides another way to do selection, often used when the number of options in the list is large. They must all have the same type, which has to be an integer type, an enum, or a string type. This makes the switch statement more limited than our selection statements using if and else. The body of a switch statement must be contained in curly braces. It is a compound statement. And there's a default keyword provided when no case matches, much like the else keyword for an if statement. A case label is not executable code. It merely is a marker or a location where code execution will begin if the expression that is tested in the switch statement matches. Once it begins executing, code follows a sequential path to the end of the switch statement. This is called fall through behavior. It has some consequences, which I will show. Let's write a small amount of code to demonstrate the switch statement and the fall through behavior. Let's assume we want to test the day of the week and see the string output of what that day is. We're going to enter 0 for Sunday, 1 for Monday, to 6 for Saturday. We'll start with the day being assigned the value of 5. Now notice here that day is an integer variable. It is not a condition. Unlike the if statement, the switch tests an expression that has an integer, enum, or string data type. Here we will add a string variable that takes the name. Call it name of the day. Let's create that variable now. And this is the basic form for a switch statement. I will add a few more cases so we can use this more fully. Here is where we would expect the match to occur on the next one, on case 5. Because the value is assigned 5, we expect this one to match. For completeness, let's go ahead and do the final day of the week. This is all we need. One problem exists. My code does not test to ensure that day is between 0 and 6. There is a chance that day could be assigned to something other than that. So let's add a default statement. And now every possibility is covered. The days 0 through 6 and anything else. And let's add a statement to output the value. Let's run this to ensure that we get Friday printed. This did not work. What should have happened in line 6 is that we switched on day. Day has the value of 5. Line 7 would be tested. Is that 0? No, it's 5. Line 9, 11, 13, 15, all are similarly rejected. However, line 17 matches. Day is 5, case 5. Those do match. Name was assigned the value Friday, yet that's not what printed out. Here's why. As I said before, the case label is a location in the code where code begins executing. So line 18 would execute. Line 20 is next. Although we do see case 6 on line 19, that's not code. The execution continues from line 18 to line 20. So now name gets assigned the value Saturday. Well, that behavior continues. It falls through, in this case, down to line 22. It assigns name to the value unknown. And then the switch statement is completed. Line 24, we print it out and we say day of the week for number 5 is unknown. That's not the behavior we want. Here's how to fix it. The break keyword. Because of fall through behavior, code begins to execute at the label that matches and continues to the end of the switch statement. What we need is a way to say stop execution here, jump to the end of the switch statement, and then carry on normally. The break keyword provides that function. It means stop here, terminate the switch statement, as we will add break just here on case 5, and we should see the correct behavior. We will do switch on day. Day has value of 5. We will match line 17, case 5. We will begin execution of code. Line 18, we will assign name to Friday. Line 19, will execute saying break out of the switch statement. That means go to line 24, then continue executing in a sequential manner. Let's run it. And there we see day of the week for 5 is Friday. Break should be added to all these cases for completeness sake. This code is complete and it should work for any number we enter. Let's test it. Let's change it to day 8. There is no case label for day 8. None of them will match except default. Default will match because no other one matches. And there we get day of the week for 8 is unknown. The last case label and its associated code, in this case default line 28 and the code line 29, does not need the break keyword, because the fall through behavior here is that if default matches, line 29 executes, and then we hit the end of the switch statement in line 30. There's no need to put a break statement there. I usually do because I may rearrange the order of the statements. There is no requirement that default be last. The compiler does not care. However, it is more readable if default is last. And default is in fact optional. We can take it out completely. However, it does not handle this case. Let's see what happens now with no default and the number 8. We get an error. Let's see what error is. It says the local variable name may not have been initialized. Notice in line 4, I do not initialize the variable name because my switch statement is doing that initialization. If I give it a value and run it, it won't have that same error. And we see day of the week for 8 is who knows? Because no case label matched in the switch statement, the variable name was never altered. Therefore, it retained its original value of who knows. Let's test one more time. Let's make it day 2. And sure enough, day 2 is Tuesday, as we would expect. The recommended form is as I present here. Most editors push the case statements and the default statement to line up with the switch, as Eclipse did. I think it's easier to read when they're indented. Pick your style, stick with it.